Welcome, one and all. Hello. Look who we have here. It's a green goblin with a mug. What's going on, everybody? Here's to another awesome episode of Bandwidth and Banter, and I'm super stoked to be here today. We got a great guest today. I don't want to jump ahead of myself though. I'm your host, Stormy D, and that right there is my co-host,
Drew
Ira. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys. We love doing this. We love interviewing streamers from baby streamers all the way up to established streamers, and to share them with you guys, share them with our communities, so that you guys can know who other people are out there. Like, Twitch doesn't make it easy to know all the amazing folks that are out there, and it's great to be here to do this, and to have an amazing business partner in my venture, because Drew and I, we really know what we're doing here, and we love doing it. So last week we had an amazing interview with Omiun, good friend of Tarconics and Rusty in that circle over there.
Yeah, them hitless runners.
Yeah, he's super talented. Like, wow, great musician. I didn't even realize that Tark was in a band, so I think it's pretty cool.
So good.
Yeah. Speaking of pretty cool, like today I'm super stoked. I gotta admit, I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. I mean, I look forward to all of them, but specifically for me, I'm a big anime fan, and I know the person that we're having on today is also a big anime fan. So we're gonna bond and chat over that and have a good time.
I just get to sit here and go, smile and nod.
Right on. Well, on that note, please welcome the warm and wonderful, amazing, the HMJ. Hello.
Oi, oi, oi. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Oi, 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 oi. Yeah.
Please reintroduce yourself and share something about your stream that you want to highlight for the folks.
Hey, I'm the HMJ. I think the best thing that I could say about my stream is that you never know what to expect. Even like it could be great gameplay, or I just forget how a keyboard and mouse works. But we're always willing to welcome extra people and like anyone, all walks of life, to just be here, accepted, and always like have a place to talk about how they feel.
Druid just felt that in her soul, I know.
I really did. I forget how mouse and keyboard works all the time. I'm just like, what are buttons? What is my pinky doing? I felt so seen in that moment. It hit me. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
There's been times where they'll see me like take on a boss that should be a really hard skill check, and I win it. And then I walk out. Actually, it was on Hollow Knight specifically. I fought this really big, like the Soul Master. Killed it in my first attempt. Walks out, gets killed by all his little cronies. Like fight done. All of them just like bullied me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I've already won the fight, but I can't win this anymore.
That's funny.
Oh man, I feel so validated right now. Okay, I'm just saying. Wow. My good sir, please share a boring fact about yourself.
I have been pulled over once.
Okay.
And it was one of my tail lights was out. And as soon as the cop walked up, it was my friend's dad. And he was just like, hey, so I'm just look, you're not getting a warning, you're not getting a citation. You know my son. So like just get it, like head home, take care of it. Like you don't have to worry about it one bit. I'm like, yes, sir, right away, sir. Like I was like, yeah, just like 100%. Yeah, I think that's about as boring as it gets.
That's a good story though. I like it. Speaking of good stories. Oh, sorry, Druid. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've also been pulled over once as a pedestrian.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. I know you don't drive. How's that possible?
Wait a second.
I was walking to work at 3:30 in the morning, or like it was like 3:30 in the morning. I was just walking to work, and they were just like, "What are you doing out?" And I'm like, heading to work. And she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, here's my uniform. And she was like, all right, cool. And that was
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Wow. Wild. So speaking of very cool, the HMJ, how did you pick your Twitch name and what was the inspiration?
So it would just be HMJ, but there is a character limit where it needs to be more than 3. So I just added the and the underscore. That's the only reason it's there. We talked about this on the first co-art stream, and no one had known. Everyone had guessed what HMJ meant for like months. Everyone was just like, hold my jorts. H makes jokes was one of the recent ones I heard. And when I sat there and I like sat with Nofor, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna finally share what it is, and it means Hungry Mori Jin, based on one of my favorite anime characters, Jin Mori. And it's a character that, like, whether on purpose or not intentional, ended up running away from all these things that they ran away from in the past. Like, whether it be like something took them away from something they loved doing. They had something else that mattered. Maybe they did avoid something that they were not really like wanting to take on then and there. But as the story progresses, they have to face these things and accept that that's a part of them, and things like, for them to get to the next step, they have to go through that. And I found that very similar for my own life. And also the relationship of the character and their grandfather is very similar to me and my dad. So it's one of those where it's like the grandfather's super strong, and even people had seen it in my Discord to see like how like my dad's 53 years old and he's still jacked. And I'm just like, it's like he could be super intimidating to a bunch of people, and then as soon as I get home, it's all the love. Like he'll be like, "Here, I stopped by the store on the way home, and I got you like your favorite like 12-pack of soda." He's like, "So you have enough whenever you're around," and I'm like, "Dad, you don't have to do that." He's like, "No, don't worry. I also got some snacks. Do you still like these?" And I'm like, I was
Oh,
like,
that's so sweet.
teddy bear.
So for the
yeah.
audience, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then it just very much where it's like I saw myself in that way, where when the character has to face trials and tribulations, they're happy-go-lucky, but there are times when they have to get serious, and sometimes life hits hard. And I was like, I read that series from about its 30th chapter until when it ended, about like 580 chapters. So about like a 10-year period, 11-year period.
Wow.
I read it every single week, and it is one thing that I will always like hold dear to myself.
Can you share with us which anime and manga it was?
God of High School. Yes, it's a very long series, and I absolutely love it. And the anime, while I still enjoy it, doesn't do the manga any justice at all.
I saw the anime without knowing how much
Mhm.
history there was with the manga,
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
loved the anime. It blew me away.
Mhm.
And in fact, the song at the beginning has become like my number one favorite song of all time. So
I remember being at a cozy raid, hearing it, and I'm like, I know this song. This is a contradiction. I knew it. The other one played later on. I was just like, I was super excited about it.
right on.
HMJ,
Mhm.
what D&D class do you consider yourself to be in real life?
I think it'd be a multi-class between mostly rogue with some monk.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um,
Ooh.
I know a lot of skills, and rogues tend to be very able to utilize a lot of skills, and there's always proficiencies. Sorry, I saw the chat. But for monk, my family's very big into boxing, and so like learning it is just like a thing in general for tradition. And like my dad was a semi-pro boxer. He taught me while I was growing up, and so it's one of those things that like I never forgot. And even though I don't compete in it, I still do it for regular health. So I really,
Cool.
really think those are a good like pair for the two.
Yeah.
That's
Aw.
awesome. That's fantastic. It's perfect too. So back to the subject of anime. What is your all-time favorite anime, and what is your favorite anime that you're currently watching?
Okay, so my all-time favorite anime is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That is gonna be always my go-to. I think it is the perfect tragedy. And I like that there's highs, lows, and if there is some like if like you're a fan of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I always recommend this anime to anyone that's a fan of it, because I'm like, there's loss, but it's not always bad. It's not always good, and you get a range of emotions to understand. But then it's like this person may be really, really bad, and you're like, they're unforgivable. But as you go on, you're like, wait, maybe they're not bad. Maybe they were never really, really bad, but it was a circumstance that put them in this position. And as it keeps going on and on, you're like, oh, it wasn't their choice in the first place. And to me, it's like, I love the character development. And a small little detail that I remember seeing years ago is like, they made Ed, the main character, a little taller every episode. So when he got to Mustang later in the series, he's Mustang's height. And so, like, what was cool about it is like Mustang notices it in the anime. He's like, when did he get like so tall or something like that? And it was such a small, minor detail. But like, my favorite part that comes from it is like, you can't get anything without sacrificing anything. Like, something has to be sacrificed to gain something. And it's by far one of my favorite series that I've ever watched. I watch it regularly. I watch it every year on October 3rd. And like, eventually I want to get a tattoo involving it, because I've watched it maybe 8, 9, 10, 11 times at this point. Like,
That's awesome. That's awesome. And your favorite anime that you're currently watching?
I've been reading it. I saw it on a TikTok like a year ago, so I've been reading it for about a year. Kaiju number 8. They've been doing such a good job on its adaptation. I'm like, I love the comedy, the humor level of it. I love like, there's like, every like anime likes to go like, oh, this coming of age story where they're like 12, 13, 14. Kafka's already almost 30 or in his early 30s, late 20s, and he's still going towards his dream. And I'm like, this is a fantastic series. Great humor, but I love like all the characteristics and habits of all the different characters too.
I agree. That's a great one. That's it's a lot of fun. I'm so happy they made that anime.
Oh, same.
What anime got you into the genre?
Ooh. This is gonna go back to when I was a kid, and it's gonna be like what was on Toonami. So like probably like Yu Yu Hakusho, or like Dragon Ball. Like those two are ones that were super, super like, I was there, I saw it, and I was like, this is awesome. I like this. This is cool. And like, I know Dragon Ball is a simple answer, but it was accessible to me. And then eventually you get to like Yu-Gi-Oh! And you get to where some, like they started putting like Bleach on there and Inuyasha. So I know anyone who knows the window I'm talking about. Or one of my favorite series, Gundam, like Gundam Wing and stuff. So just seeing that, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This was I look forward to every Saturday night.
Yep. Yeah. On that note, I'm such a big fan of anime that I every single day for breakfast and lunch, I'll watch 1 to 2 episodes while I eat breakfast and lunch. So I'm constantly watching like, I don't know, 8 to 12 different anime at the same time.
Okay.
And
sometimes
I rewatch old stuff, but most of the time I'm just watching new stuff. I've watched some mediocre anime, and I've watched some amazing anime that you wouldn't think would be that good. And it's awesome. And then even at night for dinner time, Star Kitty and I will find something that we both like and watch. And as far as old school anime, did you ever watch? Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here, Drew.
No, you're good.
Well, did you ever watch? Kenshiro. The name escapes me. It's really old. Set in apocalyptic wasteland, and the dude's a martial artist, and he looks like the Road Warrior.
No, I don't think I know which one.
The name. It'll come back to me, or somebody will get it. Vince of the North Star. Thank you, X.
Yes. Okay. Then yes. I've seen some of it. I've not seen it in its entirety.
It's really pretty cool for old school anime.
Okay.
Anyway, the next question is, switching gears a bit, what is your favorite art medium?
I've actually had like an internal conflict on this one. My favorite is still acrylic. I grew up with acrylic. That's what I painted on walls with. That, like, my dad used to let me paint on the walls because we couldn't afford canvases. He's like, It's my house. Go paint on the walls. Like, you have paints, you
Badass.
have brushes. And so I was allowed to paint on the walls in my room. And I think like that really put a love for acrylic for me. But lately I've been very much enjoying watercolors. So I don't think I'm going to take a long-term transition, or I'm not going to transition off of acrylic, but I think I'm going to take a lot of time to explore watercolors to just see what else I could use when I go back to like acrylic entirely. Otherwise probably pen to paper or pencil to paper would be my next go-to.
Makes
Love it.
sense. Makes sense.
What is your favorite flower and what sparked your love for them?
So this is always a hard one because there's like a couple, right? Like a rose is the first flower I planted with my grandma. And my grandma, my mom, my grandpa, and my dad all taught me how to garden growing up. Um but I also really love how hibiscus looks. I like their vibrant colors, how like fanned out the flower can be, and then the cool stem, and it
Yep.
like attracts hummingbirds. So I've always loved those. And like they're like the leaves are really pretty on them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
My first by myself was um a lily. And so like lilies have like a very like personal thing to me, and deers ate a first batch of my lilies one time because they just kind of like walk around our neighborhoods.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, I need to use stuff till it grows enough and then they can eat it. I'm cool once they like, but I need it to actually grow because they only bloom once. And I think those would be like the core ones for me. But what sparked it is my grandparents live in like South Texas. So I grew up military, so I was here and there, but if my
Yeah.
dad would deploy, we would go stay with my grandma and my grandpa. And they had a huge garden. I would always call it a jungle because there was roses, there would be like they had like orange trees, grapefruit, or orange bushes, grapefruit bushes. I know they like added things as it went on, but there's these tropical plants with these giant leaves,
Yeah.
and it's always green. And I would go around with my grandma in the mornings, like during the summer or winter break, and just walk around with her in the garden, and she would teach me stuff about it. And like anytime I think about it, and like I go back and like I think of all these like, oh well, where did it start? And I'm like, well, I want to say a lot of it started with my grandma, but I really did most of my gardening with my mom and dad at our own house. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's kind of like, but the one thing that stayed between the two were roses. We always had rose bushes because like they're hardy. They will take on
They take a beating.
every. They will. I mean, they'll survive droughts and they keep coming back. And our old house, the people who own it now, they can't get rid of the old rose bushes we cut because they keep coming back. Like they grow back. They're like, we put cement, it comes right through. It's like can't
Yep.
stop it.
Wow.
Cannot stop the rose
Wow.
bushes. Nope. Yep.
Wow.
My nana loves rose bushes and roses very, very much. And we have roses in our yard. But I my mom does not have a green thumb. And I've been slowly trying to teach her stuff. And she was like, at first, like, why in the world do you love these vining plants so much? Because my favorite is like the clematis. And I just love the
Oh.
big purple like, petals they're just beautiful and I love them. And so finally, we're on our third year with some of the clematis that we have, and they're climbing and like all up on our porch and stuff. And she's like, oh, I get it. I get why you like
Yeah.
it so much. And I'm like, so cool.
There's a game that if you're really into it, it's called Garden Life, a cozy simulator. I got access to it. They have the clematis on there. Like it's on there.
Uh, you are the reason why I literally just bought that game recently, because of course, as snooping around as I do, I saw it and I was just like,
Ooh, it's
I put it in my wish list and I literally like bought it when I got my badge.
they just had a big update for it too. I've had access to it because they put me on like the back end side of stuff to test things. And so like now like the plants should grow better with like vining plants. But it's so good, and the lead dev is a botanist or a florist from what I understood. So there's a lot of love in it. Um and for a tip for anyone who wants to know, like when it comes to roses or you're growing plants that need to like stabilize, what my family likes to do is we would dig the hole and then we would put boiling water into the hole. Let it cool for about an hour. Then you plant, like you bring out whatever you're like, so if you have like your rose bush or whatever, You'll put it there, and then you'll bring fresh soil onto there. Don't hard compact it, just like sturdy. So like, don't press and try and get the air out. Just enough pressure. Re-water it, and then let it sit for like 2-3 days before watering it again, and it should grow full and stable.
Huh. Interesting. Nice.
Love that.
All right, switching gears again a little bit here.
Mhm.
HMJ, what drew you to Twitch?
Ooh, it's always interesting because I was like, oh, I wanted to try YouTube. I don't like editing all too much still. I'm still learning it. I'm doing it a little at a time, but it was like also I didn't have access to editing tools at first. So what I was just thinking is like, well, I used to play like soccer. I used to play in a position that was very performative. And so I was like, well, maybe I could do this like live and on the go. And if people sit here and type in chat and like say stuff, I know I can bounce off of it. I could still be engaging. And since I'll let like the wild hair be like, oh, you should do this, like that's a bad idea. It's like, but do it anyways. And I'll do it just to see what we get out of it. Like it's just like, hey guys, look, this could be bad. It could be really, really bad, but we're gonna give it a shot. And then we're gonna just go through with it. And if it goes bad, like it's like like we knew it was a bad idea, but if it works well, it's like we do it for the drama. And we really, really like it pulled me to it, and slowly coming across and like meeting other streamers and then growing together and having these conversations and just kind of being like, I have my personal friends that like I would say like are like people I don't involve with stream or anything like that.
Yeah.
But then just as equally, like my streamer friends are my friends too. It's not like, oh, I only know them for stream. I'm like, these are people I talk to. I was gone for like a week and I was already like, I miss all my friends. I'm like, and it's like, but your friend, I'm like, no, 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 y'all are my friends, but I miss like my other friends that are also my friends. Like, I want to talk to them because I'm like, I can't talk to y'all about the stuff that I deal with because y'all don't understand me. But my streamer friends will always understand it. We'll have things to share and talk about. And then it's also like, we don't just talk about like stream, we talk about life and stuff. And I love learning about people. And there's so much to learn about everyone.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I love it.
What did your friends and family think when you told them that you planned on streaming?
They pushed me to do it. Every last one of them.
Nice.
My mom, my dad, my brothers, even like my friends. Like I remember I had like started streaming. I got my affiliate back in August of I think like 22. Then I took a long hiatus that March afterwards. A lot was going on in my life. I wasn't able to mentally handle it and like compartmentalizing, I think is the word.
Yeah.
I was struggling with like it was already starting to catch up to me. Oh, that just reminds me. Maybe there is another favorite anime, but we'll get to that. But for anyone who knows, it's the show Ruby. But I relate to the main character a lot,
Mhm.
and I was going through depression. I was going through anxiety and pressure, and like fear and stuff that, and very much who where I said my favorite character, where I just chose to try and run away from it, and I couldn't keep doing that.
Mm.
So then I went and I took it head on and told people like, hey, kept in touch with them, let them know what was going on. And one day a game came out called the Master's Pupil, which is a art game that it's all hand painted. Like it's all painted on canvas. They scanned it in, and it's a puzzle game on Monet's The Eye. And it was super cool. And I remember messaging like some of my friends like, hey, I'm gonna go live today. And my best friend, my roommate, he was just like, finally. Like he was ready for it. He was super happy, and he's like, I'm glad that you're finally going back to doing this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, a few days went by and I'm like, you know what? Let me actually be serious about this and start actually putting effort into it, put production into it, actually learn other skills on the back end and take previous skills to the modern time. And I really like it. I'm glad that everyone who pushed me for it, and my parents came and visited, they ask about it all the time. Now, they don't understand streaming, but they're like, how's your little show? And they don't mean it like mean. They call it my little show. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it's going really well, mom and dad. Like, they're really kind, they're really sweet, and I'm like, my heart.
Oh.
Well, one day when it's huge, you can tease them when they say that.
well, the thing is, it's like they're never like mean about it because like my dad's like, I don't know what to call it, and like he has like traumatic brain injury, he's got PTSD, he's former military, so he's like, I can't remember stream, but I know if I say little show, like it'll always stick in my head. And
Mhm.
they're super supportive of it. Like,
I love that.
um, my dad will sometimes be like, hey, here's like this thing, or he'll call me on Mondays before a deep talk. He's like, hey, like you want to talk for a couple of hours just to like kind of like, see if like you remember anything you want to talk about, and we'll talk for 2-3 hours. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. Like, and like I'll already be like primed to come into the day. And my relationship with him and my mom was just like incredible, and they always keep in touch with me. They keep pushing me to do it. And like I honestly like we this is actually a part of like the raid statement. My mom always told me growing up, like, hey, we don't have a lot of money, but like you may not be rich in money, but you're gonna be rich in love. And I'm tearing up about it because she would tell me about it, and I'm just like, hey, ma, like thank you, and like I'm like it. A lot of it comes to them. A lot of who I am today is because of them.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
love them.
If they're not here today, we will be sure that you get the YouTube
Mhm.
video to share with them.
Mhm. Oh, I know there's a possibility that my brothers may show up if they're awake because they were already excited for it. So,
Right on. So,
Mhm.
Oh.
what struggles did you deal with when you first started streaming?
I think the hardest part, and I think it's something that a lot of people want to do, is they want to do it alone. You want to do everything by yourself so you can say you're 100% like self-made. And I'm like, go to people who are good at these skills. So like I understand lighting and stuff like that because I used to be in theater arts growing up. So whenever people ask like about lighting, I'm like, you need a little bit extra lighting to just make sure you get everything down. A backlight so you have like your silhouette, like a light on your left, a light on your right if you can. So then that way you can get your full face and none of the ugly shadows. And then like if there's a light above you, it casts a front shadow, which can make you get like fake like eye bags or make them look deeper than they are. But I'll help friends with that. And then some of my friends are like, they're really really good with like sound production or engineering, or like I got to get with some of my friends who know how to edit and have them help me be motivated to edit because there's a lot of skills and it's too much for one person. But if you get with a group of people who have these strengths, you can grow better together, and then you develop like a sense of like community. And I think that's what's different from that first little like stretch of stream before I came back is I did everything myself. I was like instead of like accepting the help from others. And I think that is the most important thing is where it's like just be willing to accept help. It's hard. I know it's like you want to like, a lot of things can happen in your life to make you want to do things by yourself, but it's going to be okay. Like you're going to be fine.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What tips can you share to future streamers?
Ooh. It's funny because I had thought about this one and now it's like super blank. But like I would say start. Like if you want to do this, you're not sure of how to start, just start and suck. Like be bad at it. Because if you're not bad, you don't know what to fix, right? Like
Yep.
if you're sitting there and you're just like, okay, I wanted to be perfect, but you never went live, well, how do you know your niche? How do you know if you perform? I was talking with one of my friends the other day and they're like, I tried like doing the funny like quippy thing that you do and it didn't work for me. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. Like you now know it's not your thing,
Mhm.
but then you find out that okay, that's not it. Let me find my other direction. And it's gonna be a lot of trial and error. It's gonna be a lot about start. Like you're gonna have to like go through this. And it's kind of like when I first started art, I wasn't a good artist. I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I had to be bad at it. And I know at some point everyone's like, you only see the end product. You don't see the extra. You don't see like the hours when streams are off, when I'm sitting here like pressing the arrow key to get things like pixel perfect, or the like practicing like watching videos hours on end. I can see it. And like
The
you
pixel. The
the
pixel.
pixel.
Sorry.
Right. No, you're good. I get it. And so like I sit there and I'm like, but then like you eventually find out like okay, when you make these friends and these people who are like so close to you that I'm like, well, I don't know what to do, or if I'm having a rough day, like I can go to all these friends I made on stream and like ask them for their opinions, their thoughts, and it'd be just as valuable as if it's someone that I've known my whole life. And like that's why I'm like, be bad. We all started somewhere. There's people who start with just their phones. I made like I know I have like more production lights that I'll share at some point here soon. But I started my fill light was like a LED desk lamp with like drawing paper taped to it. So then that way it wasn't a harsh white light. It would be like a softened, warm light on my face. And I'm like, but it's because I couldn't afford to get the other stuff. I'm like, you can still make do with what you've got. I grew up poor, so I just learned how to be more creative with what I got with me.
Yeah.
Great advice. Everyone listen. He's got some great tips. HMJ, what do you enjoy most about streaming?
I think my favorite part about stream is that like I don't even know what to expect out of myself on it. Because like I know I'll get told like, oh, you're a good gamer, or like you could do this, and I'm like, but am I good at that game? Or am I gonna be good in this specific circumstance? But then when I overthink something, so like super complex stuff, immediately figured out. But it could be as simple as like press this button. I'm like, wait, but what does this button lead to? Like if I press this button, will I die? And then I'll sit there and overthink it, look for everything else, and then the whole time it's just press the button. I was playing Little Nightmares, and there was like this like super heavy parkour thing, and I'm just like jumping around, like going through it, gets to the end of it. I'm like, all right, cool, done. And my friend Sheep's sitting there like, what the hell? We get to a later part of it, and there's like a boss fight, and I'm just stuck. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, do I escape? And they're like, can I offer you help? I'm like, yes, please. Just go and pull these bars. And I'm like, and I had all my deaths the whole game were pretty much in that one boss fight. Like, but I love it because I don't know at all. I don't know what to expect. I think like as soon as I hit live, anything can happen on the stream at any moment. And that is probably my favorite like part. At least for like my like personal like experiences
Oh yeah.
alone.
Yeah. 100%. How long have you been playing video games? And what was the first one you ever played?
I grew up in old tilt arcades. My dad used to take me all the time, every weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We would go to a tilt arcade in the area, which is now shut down. I took a sad photo of it recently because it's no longer there. But and me and my brother walked to it, and I'm like, yeah, it's shut down now. But we went there. We played like Street Fighter. We played Tekken. We did like old race car things. They had like a pool table and all that. And my dad would just take me. But for my first game, and it's funny, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like 4, but we had Secret of Mana, and that was the first one I played. I don't even think I got through the first little area. If we want to say first game I beat, it was Star Fox 64. I love that game. I still play it on Christmas.
Amazing. I love that.
Nice. Yeah, I remember spending a lot of time in arcades myself playing games like Qbert and Pac-Man and Tron.
Qbert.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dragon's Lair. Those are some fun games from back in the day. What is your favorite thing and least favorite thing that you have streamed?
Minecraft's my least favorite thing I've streamed. That is by far the one thing that I'm like, please make me not do this again.
We're laughing because we knew that was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
As for my favorite thing I've streamed, I think like it's a little difficult because I play a bunch of games. Hollow Knight recently has been my favorite thing, and I've told everyone because it's rare that a game ends up on a I wish I could play this again for the first time moment. And that was Hollow Knight. Because all the other games, like I can replay them, I can get replay value. But once I see a boss fight, and that's why I don't watch my friends play it. I told them like I can't watch you play it. If I see how this boss fights, I'll learn its patterns just watching you play this.
Wow.
So I need to not watch it so I can make sure I can do this. But then, like, I love Overwatch. Like that is my child. I've been playing it since day one. And actually in the early beta, so pre day one. And I'm like, I've spent the most time with like that game, but for stream most recently, I'm gonna give it a Hollow Knight. I think it's gonna always hold a special place in my heart now that I've played it.
Nice.
Oh, I love that.
I do too.
I love that. So in my snooping, we learned about something. Can you?
Oh.
What was your experience like on Gamers Feud? What was it,
Oh,
and how was that? And
so it's a multi-game show, event stream. You usually apply to get into the positions, and I'm like, I like some parts of it, and sometimes it was like, okay, it's a really long production, so it could take a long, long time, but it's very similar to where I love this feeling of pressure before an event starts. Like
Mhm.
everything, like I'm like overthinking, or I'm like little mild like anxiousness, and then the moment like it's kind of like I hear the whistle blow and it all goes away. Like I'm immediately clear thought, I'm ready, I'm composed, and I take the things on like as much as I can without any worries or fears. And like I've enjoyed it, and I don't know if I will recompete on it, but I think it's a good experience for everyone to at least try once and really get to enjoy themselves.
Mm.
Um I love like when they piece together the trivia, because it's kind of like some of it's like super niche stuff where it's like I knew about like the esports and the lore side of things, but I may not have known like this specific spec of like Overwatch, because Overwatch isn't just limited to the game you play.
Uh-huh.
There's short stories, there's comics, there's in-game lore. Um, and there was like one super niche one where like you find out that Junkrat has like boba tea with taro bubbles in his canteen. And I'm like, I knew this very specific little thing that happened, and I was just like, I know what it is. And they're just like, well, how do you know what it is? I'm like, don't ask me, okay? I like the lore, but um, I just really, I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed the gamers competition. I don't know if I wanted to do the trivia again, because like
Mhm.
trivia took a lot of setup, a lot of prep, a lot of like diving into whatever the topic is, and I will
Yeah.
like appreciate the amount of research they put forward towards it. Um, the gaming event was awesome. The first place who I lost to, my boy Raiju, is by far like one of the best like friendships that I could have made off of that event. Like I don't really keep up with a lot of the other people I met through Gamers Feud, but
Mhm.
that is the best like homie and friend I could have like discovered out of it.
Aw.
Nice.
So
That's
what
awesome.
exactly was Gamer Feud? Like as what
So
what?
it's a competition. So you sign up during their regular season, which should be starting soon at some point, and it would be like, okay, they'll have like their calendar up, and it'll be like, okay, they're gonna do like Minecraft trivia or Minecraft Family Feud or Overwatch or Halo and such, and all these things that they have trivia for ends up at the end of the season competition. They'll have a gaming side and a trivia side. Now the trivia
Mhm.
side is based on all of the trivia up to that point, so you're gonna have to know a little bit of each trivia group. The
Mhm.
gaming side will be certain games that they have select for y'all to play against each other. So, like in my experience, our first game was Realm Royale, which was the high res equivalent of Fortnite, which was really enjoyable. I feel like if they put a little more effort into it, it would be a great game that would have like stuck around a bit.
Mhm.
Top 40 got to advance from there, and then you play in Fall Guys, and then I think it was a top 24 from there advanced to Overwatch. And so you had to qualify for the next game. And I'm like, if I could get to Overwatch, I'll be okay. I'm like, I will be 100% okay if I could just get to Overwatch.
Mhm.
And there was a rule system, there was a way you earn points. So winning wasn't enough. Like you could win one, but win with barely anything and still not be above everyone else who had the
Mm,
point total to be beyond you.
Okay.
I see.
hmm Whereas the Family Feud and trivia would very much be like main section of trivia, halftime where they had like a little mini game. So we did like a hero gauntlet. Um, in the middle side of it, it was hero gauntlet, and then we went back to trivia, and then Family Feud was a 5v5, which that one unfortunately didn't end up very balanced because it was me on one team, and then we had another person at the same um amount of play as I play it. And so it was like two diamond players and then like silver and gold. And then everyone on the other team didn't really play ranked or play it enough to be there. So it ended up being very, very one sided.
Hmm.
And it was just like, it was unfortunate. And it wasn't something that I could necessarily plan for because
Yeah.
if not everyone plays ranked, you don't know. But I still have some friends from those events too. And I still keep up with them as well. So
Aw.
it is fun. It is a fun event to do.
Nice. So HMJ, switching gears a little bit again, how did the idea of the shadow government get started?
So I had a bunch of like friends that I had just met at one point, and I had started up streaming with my friend Sheep at the same time, and like I was like, like a lot of people that I got close with, and we started grouping up together and just kind of like keeping in touch with each other. I was like, okay. Then I started learning about stream teams. I'm like, we should start one, and I was just like, we start one. So we invited Angelus Mortis 25, Nacho Splash, your cult leader Sheep, me, and then we had, I'm trying to make sure I'm not, and RNG Art 19. And we all like started that together. And then we recently expanded adding Front Street Fella, Binks Binks, and Leaf Arberson into the team. And I was really, really excited for it because I was like, okay, cool. There's like establishment. There's a bunch of people all over that like follow similar values. But I was like, I want us to be able to have these values where we're like, don't let people just get away with being poor quality. So don't let people hate on a gamer because they're a woman. Don't hate on a person because of the color of their skin, what their orientation is. I'm like, we're all here to accept each other and appreciate each other for who we are. Like at the end of the day, we all game, so let's make sure that we're not hating on anyone for anything that's out of their control. Now, if you're bad at Overwatch and you're on the other team, I might tell you to go to the practice range just to get under your skin a little bit. Um, but I'm always creative with my trash. The homies know my trash talk is very creative. I'll say like put them on a T-shirt. Turn them past tense. I'm trying to think of some of my favorite ones that I've ever like done previously in the past because it's creative. It's not sitting there like I've met women who are better at Overwatch than I am. There's plenty of women better at Overwatch than I am. So I'm never gonna sit here and be like, oh, we lost because of a woman on my team. But I will 100% go for your skill, and I will go for the throat on that one.
I'm gonna shit talk everybody equally.
Oh, my trash talk knows no bounds. 15 minutes means 15 minutes. I've said like, oh yeah, no, they're really good at counting to 10. I put them in spawn, and that's a spawn timer, and so it gets fun. I enjoy banter. I enjoy a little bit of like trash talk, but I always am like, hey, don't make it personal. Like, keep it just like fun and tame.
I love it. If you could, describe your friends as Overwatch characters and explain why you choose that character for them.
Ooh, oh man, I have a lot of friends. This is gonna be a lot.
And narrow it down to like.
Oh, don't worry. I'll go off of this. Okay, so I'm gonna give. Dang, this is hard. I'm like, I've never thought about it this way. So my friend Asira, a lot of homies know them as Kat. Anna, because they're not old, but they're sassy and they give back attitude, but they let you know how it is, right? So that's a good friend of mine. We've been homies for a couple of years. I would say Epsi gives me a lot of the like Mauga feel when it comes to love, but like the power of a Reinhardt. Like so that's how I would see it that way. Like 100%. Now like, and if you've seen his hair, it matches like, it's as quality as young Reinhardt. 10 is like, I kind of want to say like somewhere between like probably closer to like the Mercy, like takes care of everyone, makes sure everyone's okay. There's coordination with stuff, like really, really caring in general. So I would say like that would be a good one to go with. I know they're new to the game, and I've loved to see how much they've grown through the past couple of months. So I would put like Cozy to be much like her favorite character, Tracer, because there's like quippiness, there's like the quick little like sass and the retorts that I've met through them over the like past couple of like I guess it's almost been a year now that I've known them. And I think that would be a great like a great matchup for them. Then I wanted to like kind of like throw a jab there, just be like, oh, and this friend's Bastion because they're a bot. But no, 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 no.
Little shit talking among friends.
Well,
Why
yeah,
not? And then I think
It's always really, really hard because I'm like, I know all the lore and I know all these characters, and I'm like, I was. I mean, I guess I'm gonna like kind of put myself, and I'm like, I think my favorite relatable character is for me is Lucio and
Mm.
Cassidy, but Lucio for me because his lore is he prefers self-expression and freedom over order and like too much construct, like where it's like there's too much structure and you're no longer allowed to express yourself. I'm trying to think if there's any like I would say for no foreign, and it's funny because it is also like one of the characters I think he's really well, he's really good at Hanzo, and that's what I was thinking of. But I think he's got like a lot of fun and banter, and I don't know why I want to like say Torbjorn. There's just something about it that makes me think about like the stuff like that he'll get into, the stuff he says, and then like I'm sure No Foreign would like choose to wear the same equal wild outfits.
That is so good. I
Nice.
love that so much.
So, just since we're on this topic, before we move on to the
Mm.
next question, Epps insisted that you need to include Druid and Stormy in this too.
Ooh. Oh, maybe I would say in that case we would put Stormy as Reinhardt. I think like the hair matches because it's like long and flowy, big armor, hammer, and then you get like a giant hard light shield. So I think that would be a really really good like lineup. And then you're in on the brawl. Like you're just full on brawl, going swing crazy. I kind of feel like while like a part of me wants to be like, okay, Druid would be like if you go like more on it because like watching you play like Skyrim using spells and stuff. But a part of me is also like, what about like Genji, like the assassination ninja type like character? And it's like a lot of like, and like in my head, it's just kind of like, oh, if you were gonna engage in a fight, you would want to go and get the final like hit or the pick. And that's typically like Genji's specific like role for it, where it would just be like, okay, Reinhardt's put a lot of damage. Genji dashes in and just follows up. So the cool, yeah. A lot of impact damage.
Gotcha. That's
Love it.
awesome. Thank you for that assessment. Um, please share about your once a year charity streams. How did you choose the how do you choose the charities, and what inspired you to do those streams?
So I know I did this previous one, and I was really excited. We raised $1,100 for NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. And what mattered to me is after my previous charity I worked with, my friend worked with NBCF, but it turned out a lot of sketchy things happened on the inside, and they had left the position. I'm like, cool, I don't want to work with this now that I know. But then I got all the resources I needed to learn how to research, find out all the small details about these charities, and then implement it into future like results. Now, I talked about it a little bit earlier. My dad has PTSD, traumatic brain injury. He really got roughed up in the military. He was infantry and cavalry, so he was deployed a lot.
Yeah.
And he was around and he got the help he needed to be present, available at the best of his abilities because he's not always 100% able to be there. But he always did his best when he could. He did everything, and even now, he still does his best. But after me having to face anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and me being a really happy-go-lucky person, I'm like, there's a lot of people who are like me who don't know where to find the help for it or have access to the tools. And I started doing research on like mental health charities that support civilian and militant uh and then I found Nami, and they focused on like not just like and having ADHD and growing up, they that seeing a charity acknowledge it as a mental illness felt great to kind of sit here and be like, well, I'm someone who lives with this. I'm someone who grew up with this, and so it was like ADHD, OCD, ODD, anxiety, autism, depression, PTSD with acknowledgments of like TBI. And then I'm trying to remember. There's like a couple of other. Schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, psychosis, and they provide research and help for people with these like difficulties. And then I went and started looking through the tax forms. I'm like, okay, where does this money go? I find a lot of the money goes to helping it. it doesn't really go to the people there. A lot of it gets pulled aside so they can use it for people who need it. And I'm like, this means so much to me. Like, I'm like, let me start planning for this. Let me start like getting ready to put a whole month to them, because I'm like, I understand now what I went through and didn't understand through ADHD. So I would love for other people to find out earlier and learn that, like, hey, it's hard. I understand it's difficult, but you can live with these things. My grandma developed not PTSD, schizophrenia through trauma, which schizophrenia can only form one of two ways: heavy trauma or genetics. Hers, unfortunately, was through uh physical like abuse growing up and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And she passed away, but like she's she was the kindest old lady, but she wasn't always aware of things at times. And my dad even said, he's like, that is my mom, and yes, there were a lot of bad times that occurred, but it wasn't her when it was bad. But when she was on her medication and she took care, he's like, that was the mom that I was always supposed to have. And to me, I'm like, well, if it can help people, a lot of homeless people have schizophrenia, but getting like access to know you can live a normal life with this illness. And to me, I'm like, even if it's 5, 10, like $20, it helped somebody. So to
Yeah.
go and my last charity was 430, so I was like 500 is a stretch goal. And then to blow past that on the first stream of the month, I'm like, what I do, and I close it tonight because I finish off and like put the 1,100 because I pushed all my sub and yeah, I push all my sub revenue to it, and so I'm like, okay, we're gonna push. I'll take a little bit out of my own pocket. Let's push it to the 1,100. Thank everyone for hitting this amount. I didn't know what to say. Like when I saw the 1,000 on the screen, and I'm like, what do I do? Like I wasn't ready for this one,
Yeah.
and I'm just really happy to just see people because I'm like, just because I didn't get the help I needed as soon as I needed doesn't mean other people should suffer for the same thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I know what a bad day of ADHD with overstimulation and understimulation's like. So to me, I'm like, some people don't know that's what they're experiencing. And
Yeah.
to get these resources and share my experiences with it, because since I do delivery service and stream, I don't take medication for it. But in an office environment, I have to take Adderall to focus on that one task for a long time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that. Thank you. You're
Yes.
amazing.
Thank you.
What? Okay, really quick, guys. We're going down to the last 3 questions of our curated questions. So that means chat, you are now required to come up with questions. Uh, kidding. So prepare your questions now, friends. Prepare. HMJ,
Yes.
what is the weirdest sleeping dream you've ever had?
So I actually don't remember a lot of my dreams. I know I have dreams because I'll experience them and like when I wake up, but it's kind of like apparently if you don't move when you first wake up, your dreams will retain a little bit better. But if you up and move, you're gonna probably lose them. But this could possibly be really tied to like my relationship with my parents. And I had never seen this house before, and this was actually during the thick of my depression last summer. I've never shared this story, by the way, so no one actually like knew about it. And I thought about it. I'm like, oh, I'll share it one day. The B&B thing came up, like I'll share it. And we were in this basement, and it had like a coast there, and it was starting to rise. Like the water was like rising more and more and more and more.
Uh-huh.
And my dad's like, we need to get stuff out of the the basement. And so we're getting stuff and moving it to this other house just across the street, which it's a dream. That's what's going to happen. And at one point, I end up under the water and like drowning essentially. But like what pulls me out of the water is my dad. Like he comes and like he goes and he dives in the water and pulls me out. And like it was weird because to me, it's like, okay, when I found out it was a dream, but I actually sat there and thought on it, and I'm like, My dad has done a lot for me. He's given up a lot for me, and my mom and dad as a whole. But like when I talk about it with people and I sit there and I'm like, hey, get to someone's level. If someone's drowning, like, yeah, you can throw a life preserver, you can jump in and understand where they're at. And the next conversation I had with my dad, like, I talked to him about how I was feeling, and he reciprocated and he reassured me. And he's like, I'm going to keep in touch with you to make sure that you're all right. But he's like, I want you here. I want you around. And like to me it's like, because like he tells me he loves me all the time, and like I know like to some people that means a lot, but I'm like, I come from a minority culture. That's not a general like, oh, you just say that. That's like a, oh, you should know because of all these things I do for you. But he's like, my dad, he's like, I can count on one hand how many times he said it to me. I'm not going to be like him. And like I guess like when I remember waking up from it, I was just like, this is the craziest dream I can ever remember. And sit there and think like, when I see friends going through that same tough time, I'm like, I want to do what my image of my dad in my head is and get in the water and figure out where they're at. Maybe I've never fully experienced it, but if I can at least somewhat share in it, you can help someone swim together when they're panicking. Like, and it's just yeah, I think that's a good way I could put it.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's a
my
great.
heart.
Mhm.
That's it's this. I think that's the sweetest dream story we've heard on the show so far.
Yeah. Yeah, my heart. Ugh.
So HMJ, here's another fun
Mhm.
question. If you could be any superhero, which one would you choose and why?
Oh, dang. Oh, I feel like I've always like, while I don't like working on cars, I love to tinker, and I love like seeing how like I used to play with like hydraulics and stuff like that, and like even like the water hydraulics with like syringes. So I feel like the closest option would probably be like Iron Man.
Hmm,
Not being like him, but having the access to the resources to the same degree. I think
interesting.
that would be my favorite because one of my favorite shows growing up was Iron Man Iron Adventures when he's like in high school and stuff.
Huh.
And so like his focus wasn't on creating weapons, it was creating solutions to help people. And I really, really like that depiction of it. And so like growing up and like learning about like how stuff works and
Mm-hmm.
like how to implement it, that's always been my favorite. And I think that's the closest. Otherwise, maybe Blue Beetle. I just that movie was fantastic. I like the Hispanic heritage behind the character, but I think it would be Iron Man.
Nice, nice choice.
I love it. I love it. Last and final question. This is one of those questions where it's a either or. You pick one, the other one disappears from all of existence, with all of us remembering what it was, but it's
Awesome.
gone now.
Good.
Pocky or Mochi?
Oh,
I knew this would be a hard one
I,
for him.
I like both of these things, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love mochi, but I don't get mochi as much. I
Mm,
regularly get Pocky because like if I'm driving and I like if you eat something to like stay awake while you drive, I'll have like a stick of like the matcha Pocky and I'll just like nibble on it as I drive. So
right.
I gotta keep the Pocky. That's the most important of all of them. Um so I'll keep Pocky. Like sorry mochi fans. And
Nope,
I like
nope.
mochi. I like
That's a
but
good
it's gone.
choice.
Oh sevens.
I respect it. All right, guys. This is the time where
Mhm.
where Druid is going to share the links. You got to make sure you go
Yep.
follow, sub, biddy man, shower him with biddies, and take
Mhm.
take
Mhm.
this guy to the next level. We got to support HMJ on
Mhm.
Twitch and all of his other social media outlets.
Yep.
Um, he's exactly the kind
Really.
of folk we love to highlight. Go ahead, Druid.
Okay. So I do want to ask one quick question that
Mm,
Survivalist Gaming posted because he's got to run. So I want to make sure that his question gets answered.
okay, go for it.
Um, and this could go for all of us.
Oh,
So, Survivalist Gaming asks, okay, one question before I gotta run. Have you ever thought about quitting streaming at certain points?
oh
That's where
wow.
I hit just before the the mental break. Like I was in a really tough spot. I'm like, I don't think I have the time to do this. But something that I've like always told like anyone who jumps in, I'm like, you could choose two out of the three things. You can choose your friends, your hobby, or like your work, right? And you can only put most of your effort into. If you try to do all three, you're not gonna get as much time to do. You're always gonna be putting like 10% in each thing, and you're never gonna have enough time for everything. I still make time for my friends, but they also understand and they know that this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do, or like what I need to do for myself because I'm happy doing this.
Mhm.
And so choosing my work, which is doing delivery service and stream, and then if stream ever ends up providing to where it equates to my work, then it's my friends, then stream, and then work would be the third option I don't do.
How about you, Druid?
I when things are going really, really good, I start to panic. And this is definitely some of my own mental health issues that I struggle with. Um but it is one of those things where like when things are going really, really good, I have to be really careful that I don't self-destruct and self-sabotage because I will do it. And yes, I've thought about just um I've thought about it more times than I am proud to admit, but it's only because of my own bullshit, my own like things that I got to work through. Um and when I have lived a lot of my life in discomfort, and so when things get comfortable, it is very scary
Ooh.
because it's not something I am used to
Mhm.
experiencing. And so yes, a
Wow,
lot.
that's I'm
Yeah.
glad that you got to answer this question because I got to to know that about you. I will help watch out for that. And if you ever feeling that way, hit me up and I'll create some sort of
Listen,
fake drama to get your brain
listen,
rewired.
listen. The thing is, I never know I'm doing it.
I understand. I do get it. I get it.
I never know I'm doing
Okay,
it until
okay.
my husband is just like,
Oh.
"Hey, what you doing?"
Some
I'm
nice
just like,
insight into
"I
you.
don't know. I don't know what I'm doing." Um, so yes.
Yeah. So for me, the answer
Yes.
to the question is emphatically no. Sorry, it's not
Sure,
as
sure.
complex and nuanced as these amazing folks.
Mhm.
For me, once I started doing this and realized how much I love it, there's nothing else I can see myself doing. It's like I knew this. You know, sometimes you meet people; they're really rare. But you meet people who, when they were a little kid, they knew what they wanted to be when they grew up,
Mhm.
and they continued to always want to be that, and they eventually became that, and they were really good at it, right? Well, I guess I'm
Right.
sort of a late bloomer because I didn't know I wanted to do this when I was a kid. But as soon as I figured out I wanted to do this, there's nothing else I want
Mhm.
to do. And I'm just committed to it 100%. It's my dream. It's everything to me now. So.
I think I'm there right now. I think that's where I'm at, where I'm like, I have considered it, but I'm no longer in the state of this is why I put so much time into it now.
Right on. Yep.
Mhm.
See, you get it. It's
Yeah, yeah.
giving yourself all to something feels good, right? The commitment, the
Mhm.
yes, it can be scary. Like Druid said, it can be scary to when things are going well and you're giving yourself all to something. But you know, I think the easiest way that I can recommend for when you're in those states to pull back and not let it overwhelm you is to think, well, even if something bad did happen, I can weather it because I've
Right.
weathered stuff in the
Mhm.
past.
Mhm.
All right, next question. That was a great question. Whose question was that?
Mhm.
Survivalist gaming.
Big
So
survivalist.
I
I hope we got to
Yep.
see it.
So yeah, so I hope you can see where I've been copy pasting everybody's.
Oh, you have. Look at you.
Yeah.
All right. Epsilon asks, as a new Overwatch coach, what has been some of your ups and downs?
So, well, my ups has been all of the mangoes. They've been great to like coach. They learn really, really well. They've grown really, really fast. The only downs recently has just been my schedule's been super filled that I couldn't sit here and like do one-on-ones with everyone. But I like to learn how people learn. So then it's like Epsi is a great example. If I say, "Hey, do this for this reason," he will in the game think, "Go here." H said, "Go here for this reason," and then he won't overextend. He won't play too passive. He's like, "This is the spot I need to be in," and he plays it well. No Foreign is being another really, really good example of what happened. Is I sat there, I did a one-on-one with him, and he would leave this one position. I'm like, "No, stay in this position. This is the right position." And it's like, but I missed shots. I'm like, don't worry about missing shots. The pressure alone will keep them from coming forward. He does it, and then like I watch these two like incredible, like they're an incredible duo now. And I'm just watching like gameplay. I'm like, you two have effectively shut down all the channels. I'm like, and then you start adding in like Cozy learning the game and being new. And honestly, one of the most self-sufficient like new players that I've had to sit here and like had the enjoyment to coach because I'm like, oh, okay, let's see who Cozy's playing. Oh, they're on a completely new hero this week. I'm like, you're getting very familiar with all the heroes. Good. Like, that's hard. That's always the hardest thing to do. And that is probably the answer to the hard part of it. Getting people to leave the comfort characters so they can play others, whether they play the others permanently or not, doesn't really matter. But them being able to, like, know how those other players or those other heroes play make a complete difference in how their games go. So honestly, like I think the downs are always outweighed by all the ups.
No Foreign asks, what's the first thing you're gonna do at TwitchCon?
I'm gonna hug all my friends. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm like,
That's a great answer.
and then my
yeah.
stomach's gonna growl, and then we're gonna go get food.
A man after my own heart. Hugs and foodage.
Yeah, the last thing is if I disappear, I already told them if round one's open, you know where to find me. Or if I also disappear, I might be in a sketchy area going for tacos. So like that's I just like
That's
I ain't
awesome.
afraid of the
Taco
streets.
Oh,
Uh,
amazing.
1010 asks, what's your favorite cherished object in your room?
ooh, okay, so that's a hard one because I get a lot of like it's funny. I really, really like small gifts, right? And maybe my favorite cherished object, it might be my favorite book called Ain't Burned All the Bright by Jason Reynolds. It's only 3 sentences long. It's full print, but it hit me in an emotional way because like my family got sick with COVID, and there was one part where the dad is really, really sick with it. And like they were like, he's on the other side of the room. I can't go into that room. He's coughing heavily through the mask, and he's like, but all I can still see is it ain't burn all the bright. And like the dad, like just like saying I love you to the character that's portrayed in it, and that there were all these woes and wrongs going on in 2020. But that one thing always tells me like life gets difficult, things get hard, things get tough even when I'm at like my lowest, it's like it still ain't burned all the bright. Like, and I know it'll come right back. So I think, and I mean, I can just pull it up right here. I have over like
Oh, yeah, please
600
do.
books.
That's
So,
awesome.
so it's called Ain't Burned All the Bright. It is still one of my favorite books. I even think I have it tabbed to the page where it says exactly that. Yeah, right here. And it is still like my favorite, but it says so I keep peeking through a crack in the door, and when he sees me he smiles because the fever ain't burned up or ain't burned all his bright up yet.
Hmm.
And like I come from poverty. Like even though yes, there's like a techie stream and stuff like that, like our house was falling apart. There was leaks, there was like we would just kind of get just enough money to do stuff. My mom and dad would just if my dad had like 20 extra bucks, he'd be like, "Hey, go take our like take just like to share. Like my middle name's Anthony, then he'll be like, "Hey, go take Anthony to the store to go get paint so he can paint some more. And my mom was like, "But this is your lunch money," and he's like, "Don't tell him that. Just go. Like just go." He wanted me to express myself through art, and he like it kind of cultivated me to do certain things. But then seeing like my mom get through depression, see my dad get through it. But even at the worst of times when we were losing the house, there was always hope regardless. So my dad he's always been, and my mom has always been like, "Don't worry, I know it's going to be hard, but we're going to pull through this." Now they live a lot better because he's on 100% disability and everything's okay. But I think if it wasn't for that upbringing to take on all these hard times, I can weather the storm every time it comes.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
that's beautiful. I like that question enough that I would like Druid and I to answer it too. Druid, what's
My
your
most-
most cherished favorite object in your room?
I have a few, but honestly, it is this big, huge painting in my background. It
I
was.
like it.
It is. My husband painted it. With acrylics, and it was a real because I don't paint. I know that if I sat down and tried, like I know I'm capable. But it's one of those things. It was so funny to watch him go through all all stages of grief when it came to this painting. Because at first he's like, "This is cool. This is my vision," and he's like, "I hate this. I hate this painting. I hate everything that's happening with it." And then he's just like, "I'm gonna try this new thing. I'm gonna do this thing," and then just like watching him like troubleshoot through the painting was just so phenomenal. And by the end of it, he's like, "It turned out pretty good." And I'm like, "Pretty good? What are you talking about? Are you serious right now?" And it is my favorite painting. So anybody that asks about it, I'm like, it is technically for sale, but right now the price is at $25,000. So if you want it, like, and I up the price every time because I don't want him to sell it.
I think it's worth 4 times that, at least.
100%. I've joked like 2,000. No. Every time I spit out a number, I'm like, nope, $1 million.
Nice.
I don't care. It's mine. You can't have it.
I think my favorite part when it comes to art is it's one of the guaranteed things that it's not done till you give up on it. Like you will until you've put the paintbrush down and signed it, it's not complete. And you have to give up for it to complete.
My answer to that question, if for this room anyways, this little guy right here, for multiple different reasons. The first reason is because it's a character that Star Kitty and I, birthed together, and because our two best friends, Druid and Fate, went to the trouble of getting this commission to be made for us. So, without a doubt, in this room, this is my favorite object, my most cherished object.
That is so cool.
I love Philip.
We love Philip. Yeah, that was a fun day. That was a fun day having her open that on screen. Just the look on her face was fucking priceless.
You had her in tears. It was wonderful.
It was so good. Cozy Conchili asks, question, if you could travel to any country, where would you go?
I saw that one. I had been thinking, I'm like, where would I go? Where would I go? I'm like, it's funny because I would probably try and avoid anything super coastal because I don't like the ocean. I'm scared of open water. I won't go on a cruise. I don't care. I'm like, there's a spookies in there and I have no deals. Like I don't need to go there. I think I would go to Germany because I love like street soccer in other countries. And so I would love to go there and see if it's as structured as their play style is. If not that, Italy. Those two would be just, I know there's coastalness for Italy, but there are two different play styles that I'm not necessarily like familiar with because I'm familiar with more of a Spanish style play, which is a lot of like dribble, flashy play style, whereas there could be more defensive style for Italy and a more structured by the book style for Germany. And I want to see if their streets are the same.
Love it.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
have you always lived like landlocked and like not next to the ocean, or have you just
Well, I've been close to the side of like the coast. I because I was in South Texas, like 30 minutes from South Padre
okay?
Island. Um, no, I live as far away from anything water related that could hit me. I'm a Central Texas boy that will do everything to not go to the coast if I don't have to. Like, I could go to the beach. I don't mind the beach. If you're like, let's get in a boat and go deep sea fishing, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna not. Like, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go on a boat either,
Mhm.
but I cannot imagine being landlocked. I have to be able to go touch salt water easily.
Okay, fair, fair, fair. Yeah, yeah. I'm
So
allergic to that. I've seen hurricanes. I'm not dealing with that no more.
luckily we don't have those in Washington
yeah.
State.
Iltacine asks, chili with beans or without?
Oh,
I know he asked this question because I was having a conversation with he and Tarkonix the other day. I think it was in the Tarkonix chat. It was in somebody's chat. And Iltacine made this great comment, and I'll share after you have answered.
oh no. I know some people are like, it's not chili. I like chili with kidney beans. My mom used to make it that way growing up. So it's like it would be in the slow cooker. She would like slow cook kidney and pinto beans, and she would add like the ground beef and such. And it's one of my favorite childhood like meals. So whenever I go visit, I'll be like, "Hey mom, can I have this?"
Can you make
I always
chili?
and she's like, "You always could ask for the difficult things, but you choose the easiest things." I'm like, "They're my favorite." Like that's just kind of what it's always been for me. So I would be with beans. I don't mind it without beans, but like if I could have a preference, it'll be with beans.
I love that answer, and you're absolutely right.
Mm.
And the joke of that conversation was Iltacine said, "Beans without chili is just meat soup."
Yeah. I mean, the ocean's a soup too if you think about it long
Hmm.
enough.
It is. It is. I also am a beans in my chili kind of person,
Mhm.
but I don't like kidney beans. I do
Oh,
literally
Oh,
any
okay,
other
okay.
bean but kidney beans. I don't know what it
Okay,
is.
okay, okay.
interesting.
Mhm.
I'll
So
or
like
and
what,
then
pinto
I'll and
beans?
then if I'll do pinto black beans and
Oh,
like white beans.
Oh yeah,
But I'm
okay.
not a big fan of kidney beans. Never have been.
Hmm.
I'm just like
interesting.
I'll eat them first so it doesn't spoil the rest of it.
Reasonable.
Yeah. Spud Solutions asked, "What's the most Texas fact about yourself?"
Oh man. I'm trying to think about what could be the most Texas thing about me because I'm like, it's funny. I don't own boots. I don't have a belt buckle. Um, I mean, I've been to the like I used to regularly go to the state fair because that slapped. Like that's about it. Like I've been to rodeos. Rodeo season's kind of cool, but honestly, a lot of the things that I would say would be like Texan to me is just Hispanic. Like that would really just be it. Like San Antonio and south of that, best tacos in Texas. Like anything north of that, they're not great. Like you rather go to someone's house. Um, I mean, I'm familiar with tornadoes, but I don't have to deal with them. That's about it.
The most Texas thing about me is that I live in Austin. That's
Okay,
it.
okay. Oh wow, we're not far.
Really, we're not far. Are you in San Antonio or
No,
something?
no. North of y'all, north of y'all. Oh,
Oh,
like that
okay,
stuff I could
sure.
definitely share. Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to
That stuff I
dox
can
you.
share because
I
I don't mind.
apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, no, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of things north of y'all.
Okay, right on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. That's
yeah,
true. There
yeah.
is.
I'm like,
And
I don't
I'm
really
just
know.
I'm just happy to be in Washington State, the most beautiful state in all of the lower 48. Just saying.
That's
It
right.
has
Lower
Boone
48.
and
During the
oh my,
summer, I
it
definitely would
agrees.
rather be there with you, Druid.
Just saying.
Oh, you know what? I have Texas pride to the T. That's it. But it's like it's it's not your like general Texas pride. It's like when someone talks trash about Tech. Ah, I live within 3 minutes of an HEB, and I'm there almost daily. That is the most Texas thing about me. Favorite story.
That's
Hearing
definitely that fits. Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I keep hearing about this HEB, whatever.
It's the
Okay.
Texas version of Walmart. That's really all it is.
Well, so everything that we get from HEB, like our produce, is grown in a town called Poteet for the most part. So everything is very fresh and locally sourced. Meat is at a cheaper price. And like, so me and my roommate will go get groceries weekly, and for like full cooked meals, like make like it's not just like, oh, like tacos. It'll be like pasta made from scratch, roast and stuff. It's like $100 a week is how much we spend on pretty much full groceries.
Amazing.
Die hard for it. I stand like you can trash talk the state, but don't you dare trash talk HEB.
I love that.
Angelus asks, what was a hugest moment for you in your streaming
What
career?
was the yeah,
Yes.
I messed up in the copy paste on that one.
Oh, you're good, you're good. Ooh. The biggest moment for me on my stream, I think it was at the end of the 48-hour birthday stream where I got everyone crying with me. That was awesome.
That's
I was
good.
like, I did a 48-hour birthday subathon, and then my roommate near the end was like, "How much do I have to bribe you for you to finish this out and wear the maid outfit to TwitchCon?" I'm like, "Let me go ask chat," and then he negotiated $25 cheaper than that. I'm like, "I could do that. We could do that," and so we finished it off. We did a little bit of a mini art like drawing part of it, and I was just like thankful to everyone, and we all started like kind of like tearing up because I'm like, I didn't think it would be like that for 48 hours. I didn't stay up the whole time, guys. I did do some, like I did sleep some because I was like, this is too long, and since it was a subathon and it could go up, I didn't know where it was gonna end. So I'm like, there's gonna be like 6 hour sleep periods. I'll be up the rest of the time. And I think that was the biggest moment because I got to share that, like, I got to see everyone because it was 48 hours. Everyone from whether they were in Europe or whether they were in Asia, names that I hadn't seen for a while that had hopped in and just said hi. Just it was cool to see. I'm like, wow, this is more than just the States, and how like streaming has changed like who we can talk to and who we can reach out to.
Nice.
I love that.
That's good. How about you? How about you, Druid? What was so far? What was the hugest moment that you know stands out to you?
I got rated with well over like 170 people into my chat, and that was a lot of people, and that was really stressful and fun and scary and awesome, and that was weird.
That's a good highlight though. That's a nice choice.
That was so weird, but I don't know. I think the reputation of like having like the reputation of Stormkeep get around and have people go, "Oh yeah, Stormkeep," and I'm just like, oh, it's official.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
It's official.
I love what we're building. For me, it's a little more personal. I really loved that moment during our last D&D campaign where you guys first faced off against the first beholder, and we had the three big reveals at the same time. The reveal that, well, that you're fighting this beholder. The reveal that Philip was real.
Yes.
And the reveal that Rylar was somehow tied to the great old one, was very likely. Yeah, so it was that moment, that night, you guys were so blown away. It made me so happy to see you guys so happy that that really hits hard for me.
That was a good one. That was a good moment. Bunny Slaughter asks, HMJ equals which Overwatch hero got the best puns? Sorry, I butchered that question. Which Overwatch hero got the best puns?
Okay. Winston, no questions. No. That's a big gorilla. I don't know. I think that's a little bit difficult. Like it depends on skin. I feel like the default across the board has got to be like Widowmaker or like Tracer. I think that's like the general. So actually, you know what? We're gonna give it a Widowmaker because of a bug back in like early Overwatch. Whenever they would pop their ult, for some reason there was an in-game bug that would increase their butt size. I don't know why. that was just like it got fixed very fast, but I'm like, I guess you can't deny that one after that. So I guess we could go with that.
Okay.
Winston, final answer.
All right. Looks like it's about time for us to start wrapping it up. But we got one more question from Von Giggles. They ask, tacos with raw onion or grilled onion?
When I was younger, it would be grilled, but I think now I actually like corn tortilla with like onion and cilantro, like fresh. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that now. I couldn't do that back then.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
Can I say both?
No.
That's
All
fair.
the
Yeah,
onions?
yeah.
Well, that definitely sounds like you, Druid.
I love onions.
It's
I
so
love
funny
them.
because I hated them. Like I still don't like them, but I like them in certain things now, if that makes sense. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
has the
that's
magic.
fine.
It's
Yeah.
that texture. It's a texture for me that I don't like on its own.
I like them a lot,
Totally relatable.
but I can't eat them. I'm super allergic. I mean, it's not allergic like your typical kind of anaphylactic shock or rashes or anything. More like it just really bothers my stomach if I eat onions.
Oh, okay. See, my brother's allergic to mangoes, so if it touches his face, he'll like break out. So like he eats it because he's not internally allergic; he's just externally allergic.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I'm like, you
That's
are my
wild.
brother. Nice.
That is great.
Well, with that, HMJ, we're sad, but we got to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a treat to have you on the show. Everyone, please go support this amazing, beautiful man. He's so good at what he does, and he's a great gamer and a great streamer with some fantastic visionary ideas. And I look forward to potential collabs that we can do in the future.
Reach out. Stormkeep got your back.
Mm-hmm. Wow, guys, what a treat. Freaking HMJ. I gotta admit, I wish we had had more time so that I could ask him more anime questions. But you guys had some great questions that I just wanted to see answered. So, my goodness, what a treat. It's always an honor to get to hang out with Mighty Mango Mate circle of friends.
Yeah, so good. We love the Mighty Mangoes and all of their friends.
Mm-hmm. So, next week is not a Bandwidth and Banter episode. Oh, no, I know. I'm sorry, guys. Next week, next Friday, won't have Bandwidth and Banter, but we're having a big Community Day event. The launch of the Minecraft server that Druid and Banana Tom and Daddy Dagoth and Extirpate Fate and Phoenix and Void and Pelicanon. Have I forgotten anybody?
That sounds about right.
Have all worked on. They've crafted Stormkeep as an actual place in Minecraft, and I can't wait to check it out. It's the one thing that would ever get me to play that game, and I have a feeling that once I get into it, I'll probably like it. So make sure that you guys, if you want to join us that day, I mean, you can always join the stream, of course, right? We want to see you guys. It'll be at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to go straight into the evening. But if you want to join the server, you need to get whitelisted. So please.
Send me your name.
Yes. Reach out to Druid through a DM. Yep.
Yes. Reach out to me.
Do you have anything else? Any other announcements you want to share?
Java.
Druid?
Yep. It's the Java edition. Reach out to me. We're working on trying to do other things with the server, trying to make it cross-compatible and all of that kind of stuff. But just reach out. Reach out. OG Blaze, we're working on it. I have somebody working on it. Okay?
We're going to do our best, Blaze. We're going to try, I promise you. We want you there at the very least, be in the stream, but we want to try and get you into the server too. So
Yep. So all in chat are welcome. Just send me a message.
Since we're not doing B&B next Friday, who do we have on the following Friday so folks can know who to look forward to? I put her on the spot. I forgot to set that up beforehand.
How dare you?
I know. Always putting.
it is going to be a return.
Right. Brandon Wolf Gaming, right?
Correct.
Is coming
Yep,
back
Brandon
for a
Wolf
return
Gaming.
edition. So
DYS, DYS, DYS.
can't wait. Looking forward to it. All right. Yes. Not next Friday, but the following one. Can't wait.
Following Friday.
All right. That's all we got for today. You ready to wrap this up, Druid?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming to the show.
Please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below.
If you're listening to the podcast,
Please rate and review the episode.
we are Bandwidth.
And Banter.
Thank you.
And good night. Goodbye, goodbye.